how we're gonna organize. And so we're getting some legal advice, which is good. On May 12th, we did a soft serve farmer's market opening out at Prospect Street, and we were excited. The day started out kind of drizzly. It was a total of 8 vendors. We had 1 from Mobile, 1 from Remsen, 3 from Merrill, 3 from Lamar's, 2 from the city, 1 from rural. So that was the 8 total vendors that were there that day. 50 to 60 shoppers. The farthest one that came that I'm aware of was Vermillion, South Dakota. It was a really good day for vendors and shoppers, lots of excitement. And we had 1 early shopper, which it clearly states no early sales. And that person was there at 8 o'clock wanting asparagus. He was told to return later. He did. It was sold out at that point. But that's the way that day went. But we were very happy. May 31st, we officially began the 2018 season with Merrill on Thursdays. And we're there. We had 4 vendors. And we had a nice flow of shoppers. Merrill is an established market from last year. June 2nd, last Saturday, we were out at Lamar's again. And it rained the night before. It was cool and very breezy at 9 o'clock in the morning when we started. We had 40 to 50 shoppers all day. The sun came out, but it stayed breezy. And we had 10 vendors that day. 1 from Mobile, 1 from Remsen, 3 from Merrill, 2 from the city of Lamar's, 2 from rural Lamar's, and 1 from Hinton. So, in addition to all those vendors, we also had our very first nonprofit educator, and that was the Lamar's Arts Council that came. And we offer them a free space. We don't charge them a vendor fee, and they do not charge for any of their services that day, and they can share anything they want and educate. So they did things with more or less the children and their families. But they worked with, I said, at least 20. I don't know if she's gone, but I think there was at least 20 children besides the parent interaction and grandparent interaction. So that was really positive. And that worked very well. So well that her comment to me on email was, we want to come back every week if we can. And so it's a process. We have others coming up. We have 1 male a cappella quartet who will be with us in July. And then we have Rising Star interns from Iowa State University who are working Northwest Iowa this summer. So they will each 2 of them will intern in Lamar's, and then again 2 in Merrill. So we are very excited about that. I have, these are our current flyers that are new as of today. And
I'll just pass it on.
sure, the large flyer is referred to as a flyer, and the small one is a mini flyer. If you read the large flyer, it just says we're in Lamar's, Saturdays 9 to 12 at Corkett, gives our street address, and we're there now through September 29th. Merrill, it's got the same information. I realize now it should say that we're closed the last week of July because we do know farmers markets during the fair. All of us pretty much are involved there. So then the next line says accepting FMNP/SFMNP, and that refers to the Farmers Market Nutrition Program. You might know it as a WIC voucher, or there's a senior voucher also that citizens can get, and then we have to be state certified, and there are 3 of us who have gone through the certification, and that qualifies us to be an approved market for the state of Iowa. So we're on the website there, and so 3 of us vendors can accept their vouchers. And those are the things that we're offering. Locally grown flowers, fruits, herbs, vegetables, baked goods, crafts and arts, jewelry, jellies, farm fresh eggs. Last Saturday we had 4 different vendors with farm fresh eggs, and that was good. Honey is also available. Those are, the icons are if you want more information. If you personally want more of these flyers, contact any of those there. And the small one just refers the same thing, only more concise. And we're sharing these in the communities around Plymouth County, and there's some in Sioux County right now, I know, and I think Woodbury as well.
Sounds like your vendors are happy.
We are. One vendor did not sell any eggs Saturday. It was his first one. He had no signage. He didn't know what he wanted to charge for eggs. He asked me, well, what do I charge? And I said, that's yours. When I gave you the application 3 weeks ago, if you read that, that would be what, so, I don't know, but we talked with him and I think he'll be back. I am meeting with Christy Collins. I met with her in April regarding the Olson Cultural Event Center page on your website. When it refers to farmer's market and you read it, that all happened in 2016. And I talked with Christy in April. And when I went on there 3 days ago, it's still there.
Well, we gotta do some checking into that and see what the other side of the story is. I don't know why that would happen.
Well, it hasn't
Because
been
it goes-
updated since the fall of 2016, when the chamber pulled out a farmer's market.
I see.
And that webpage has never been updated.
Okay.
So I've worked through email with Christy and I'm gonna work some more this week. We should have
All right.
my commitment to it solved within the week. And then I meet with Jessica Brown Miller tomorrow doing that, so.
We'll follow through and see what happens on that, Mark.
And
Sounds like,
Dave Corber is the other farmer's market manager over on the Plymouth Street side.
all right.
So from there,
Sounds like you're doing a fantastic job. Keep up
All
the
right.
good work.
any comments that anyone else has? Okay,
Okay,
all right.
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, good. Anybody else on general discussion? Okay, thumbs up over, John. Clark?
John's been married for 50 years.
It's been a wonderful 50 years.
Now, the same weekend, me and Jolynn, 36 years.
Wow.
So you know what? Yeah. So anyway, thumbs up, buddy.
Thumbs up, Steve?
Thumbs up for the open house that we just had this past week out at the campgrounds and the clubhouse and restrooms. That is top-notch stuff that got done there. That was awesome.
Thank you. I also want to thank everyone that showed up at the open house that day. I think it's a great move for the city of Lamar's, another step in the right direction as far as keeping our city moving. And thank you for coming out and joining us. Rex? Ken?
Just enlarge on the pond out there a little bit, cause I had a bunch of grandkids out there, spent 2.5 hours.
Good.
It's a wonderful place to be, but I think we're gonna have to get some signage out there, cause I ran one ATV off the trail, was trying to get down between there, and, somebody drove a pickup down there. And
That day while you were there?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to get some signage that no motorized vehicles or something on either end, they were coming both directions, so. I know that, the golf cart's gonna go through there, and that's not a problem, cause they go a little slower and they're blocked for people, but
Okay,
it's a really nice area out there, and the kids really enjoyed the swim, so.
good. Okay, moving on to the consent items. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time council votes on the motion. Today, we've got 7 of them. Approval of May 15th, 2018 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 5/31/18. Number 3 is a new and renewal liquor license outdoor service area for the Iowa Barbecue Company, and I have to share this with you. Upon the approval of the fire and police department, they went out there to inspect it and they weren't quite done. And so they've asked for a little bit more time, but at that time when they do, the fire and police will approve it. The El Fresco tacos, Leontiano. And number 4 is a request for the closed streets on ice cream days. Number 5 is appointments, and I have personally visited with the people that's involved in the appointments, and they've accepted. Williams and Company, PC audit and letter agreement. And the 7th one is a contract for transportation services with CERTS. So I'll ask any of the council members if they would like to pull any of them, and if not, I'd have a motion.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Kurt, you're in the audience. Did you wanna
Oh, I'm
talk
sorry, I
about,
didn't
did you
see
wanna
Kurt
talk
down
about
there.
certs at all, or?
I'm sorry, Kurt, I didn't see you
that's
come in.
okay. I figured you was
Not a
gonna
problem. I just thought I'd be here if you had any questions. Everything's going fine from our perspective. We're numbers yet. It's been pretty consistent the last 2 or 3 years, so.
Good.
No issues that I know of right now.
Good, just saw you here, so.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kurt, I didn't recognize.
No problem.
Any questions?
Do we,
To approve consent items, 1 through 7.
do you wanna make?
Did I cut you off?
No, absolutely not. Do we wanna make a special note on that, pulling Iowa BBQ, or just gonna leave it the way it is?
I'll
and-
just leave it the way it is, the
Totally
police
fine.
will handle it.
Okay, that's totally
And I think
fine.
everybody is aware of it and agrees with
Right.
Scott.
Good enough, okay. I'll second it.
Motion made in second, on the consent items, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Today, there's no action items, and so we'll move on to F, council and mayor. Jason, Scott isn't here, so, or, is he on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Scott, I didn't know you were on. You wanna update us on anything, or? Scott?
Scott,
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
do you have any updates?
I do. On the airport, we have 3 projects. The FAA grant documents did go into the FAA. We're still waiting to hear from the FAA then on a letter of agreement. And so that'd be the next step for them to respond with a award letter, and so we can get going on our runway extensions. We pulled the trigger on the riprap for the Floyd River, and we're using the same firm that we used a few years back, and that firm is Nelson and Rock, and they're out of Ottawa, Iowa. So they are out on site starting yesterday, and they're placing riprap today, and within a couple of days, by the end of the week for sure, that stretch of the Floyd River will be stabilized such that the 450-foot extension can be placed on the runway. I did speak with Chris of Cardis Fence, and they intend to start the fencing project within the next 3 weeks. Moving on to the library, there was a lot of concern on the part of Shirley and the library board members that the lighting of the parking lot was very minimal to, in some cases, at least in some of the areas, non-existent. So we made sure that all 4 decorative lights would work. We added 2 street lights, one at the corner of First and First, and the other one at the alley and First. And we downed the ash trees since they have a very limited life anyway. They were out in the parking and they were influencing the lights, so those 3 trees went down. And then the pruning of the ornamental crabs were so severe over time, and the time frame I'm talking about is from 2002 to present, that they were misshaped, they had cankers, and they were just really on their last leg. So 5 of those trees came out, and we're going to kind of start over. That being said, Campbell Landscaping is on site and has been so since yesterday, and we pulled the trigger on the landscaping contract. And hats off to Mike and Cheryl Wells again. They stepped forward and offered $11,000 towards the project. The city will have $8,000 in on the project, and then we will also have some pavement removal and replacement. As time goes on, I'm still getting bids on that portion of the project. I received a quote from Jerome Dreckman to do the demolition of the Colby property on Lincoln Street. And so the 3 outbuildings, the 5 trees, the 2 shrubs, the septic system will all come out of that property completely. And then we'll make sure that there's positive drainage away from the structure beyond that point, and that too will be done by Jerome. He is anticipating getting started on that tomorrow. campgrounds, Campbell Electric is still working on the electricity, and as of this morning, he informed me that 12 of the 30 pedestals are in. And so he's making progress, but he's got farther to go since there's 30 total. We have planted 22 trees, and the concept is that each site would be getting 1 tree, so that's 30 trees total. This last spring, the most we could get in is the 22, so the rest will come this coming fall. In keeping with the Willow Creek Golf Course, the Willow Creek Campground, and other signage that is out at that location with the willow, we are planting 15 willow trees, starting at the west entrance of the park and working all the way to the east entrance of the park. Those trees are supposed to arrive this Friday, and Chad Brulin will install those next week. Your public works staff, led by Scott, is grading for the roadways. And I would say, after reviewing it this morning, it looks to me like he's about halfway there. At the Postal Playhouse, Mike Clary is putting the EFS on the new addition, and in the 2 window openings on the east side of the building. And we picked color samples first thing Monday morning so that he knows what color to as a final coat. And he informs me that by Thursday he should be done. That'll leave painting of the foundation, of which I have a young man that will do the painting for us. Jeremy Sitzman will pour the concrete on the 3 sides of the addition, and he will also build the ramp on the east side down to the garage. All of which I have asked Sitzman and Clary and the painter to be done by the middle of this month. And in talking to Dick, our goal would be to have all the physical work done by the 15th and have all the bills in and paid by the end of the month so that we meet the intent of the Gilchrist grant. The next thing that we're working on, and we've got JMAC online at this point, to pour the concrete in the courtyard of the shelter house. The brick pavers have been ordered and taken delivery of about 3 weeks ago, and we have the pattern figured out for the courtyard. And then Brad Epling has a design of the pergola that will receive the grill and the outdoor cooking facility that was donated by Doug Wells. And so that will go in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and the concrete work by JMAC at the end of that 2 to 3 week period. And then finally I've got Cardis Fence putting in the wrought iron fence, and he also indicates that he can meet that same time schedule, so approximately 3 weeks out. Brad and I have met at the dog park, the BMX track, and the airport plaza, and the 3 donated glass enclosures are going to be, one is going to be located at each of those 3 locations. And that too, a thank you goes to Wells Dairy, who gave us the glass enclosures. They felt they did not need them anymore. They used to be kind of a smoking hut, I think, at some of their facilities, and they chose to get rid of those, and they donated them to the city. I also talked to Cardis about putting a fence at the dog park, and he's more than eager to do that. So I'll be working with Cardis in the next few weeks, coming up with a final design, cost estimate, and then I'll probably pull the trigger if the estimates are reasonable. mount the 3 pergolas. The 3 pergolas are going to look and be pretty much identical to the pergolas that had been mounted at Olson Cultural Event Center. So that's exactly what they look like. Central Avenue, sections 1, 3, and 4 are 100% done. That leaves section 2. Section 2 is from Highway 3 south across the tracks down to just short of 2nd South. And that's kind of been a moving target. They were going to do it right away following 3 and 4. Then they wanted to wait until Monday the 4th, which was yesterday. Then it got pushed to the 11th on Monday the 11th. And now at this point in time, because of a holdup by the railroad flagman, it looks like it's going to be no sooner than June 18th. But that's the only section left on that white topping. The white topping down on 6th is done. And the guys informed me that they'll have it backfilled today and it will be reopened to day's traffic. There'll be some cones on the one stretch where some concrete didn't meet drainage criteria, and so they replaced it there yesterday. And so some cones will be on that location only, but the traffic will be allowed to go through. The resurfacing of the rack trail with asphalt by Knife River did get accomplished. And so if you haven't been on the rack trail, we're right there on the east entrance of the municipal park. You can jump on at that location and go all the way along the railroad tracks, and that's all been refreshed and resurfaced with new asphalt. So it looks like $1 million at this point. Plymouth Street in the 1000 block east did get, I forget what it is, 15 different patches, and that has been 100% done. Lincoln Street, just south of 4th, but before you get to 6th, that too had about 10 patches, and those patches are 100% done. Dave Wilberding gave us a design for 1st Street and 2nd Avenue North